Baseball Association, Coaches Association, and Coach Charlie Stump for nominating me for this tremendous honor. I truly believe that being the head coach and the athletic director at Kirkwood Community College, that I have the best job in the country. I get a chance to impact young people every single day. I'd like to congrats all the inductees. What a class, tremendous class to go in with all four of you. I'm really excited for all of us. As a young coach, I remember coming to this clinic and learning so much and respecting the people that were here, the umpires and the coaches. It's something that's really stuck with me. And this clinic helped form a lot of my philosophies and how I went about things. And I've had a lot of people that have impacted my life and my career. And I just want to share some stories and go into the people. I've got a lot, as Coach said, to thank. The best part about being a head coach is you get to do it your way. You get to be yourself, and you get to dictate how you want your philosophy to be and how you want to run your program. Mine started growing up in a small town of Ojai. I had a father that I would wait for every day to come home, and we'd go in the backyard and we'd play catch. We'd play a game called ground ball pop fly. He always let me win, it seemed like, so I appreciate that, Dad. But he taught me to love the game. And my love for baseball started at a young age because of my interaction with my father. He also reminded me that being good in Ojai wasn't good enough. There was always people on the outside that wanted to be better than you, and you always had to continue to work. And something I teach our players today that my dad taught me is there's always going to be somebody that watches you play for the first time. Somebody at the ballpark is going to be there for the first time, and how do you want them to remember you? And that has always stuck with me. My mom taught me humility and patience. She taught me that your family comes first, and that you always stand beside and you support your family and you love them dearly. I appreciate that from my mother. My brothers Scott, Travis, and Kaylee, it was all about caring and supporting each other. We had a great system. We had a lot of great days. We had a lot of fun in our house. We used to play a game. It was knee football. And Mom would always say if she heard us crying, if somebody ever cries, if they cry again, the game's over. And I appreciate when I would cover their mouth so Mom couldn't hear them crying, that they stopped. I really appreciate my dad and Travis flying in from Florida to be here, all my family. Mom, you're right, family is forever, and I love you guys. I got to play for a Hall of Fame high school coach in Steve Sanders. Coach Sanders taught me how to compete every single day. He taught me how to compete, and the other thing he taught me, he got mad at me one time. I detasseled one day and had my worst game of my career, and he said if I ever detasseled again, I would no longer be an Ojai Husky. So I did not detassel again. He also taught me that two people wore number 7, Steve Sanders and Mickey Mantle. That will always stick with me. From there, I had the opportunity to go to the University of Northern Iowa, and I played for a great person in Dave Schrag. Coach Schrag, tremendous person. I always knew that Coach Schrag loved me more as a person than he did a player. And that always stuck with me. And that's something that we try to do at Kirkwood. We're gonna love you more as a person than we are as a player. And I think that's how we've gotten what we have from our players in our program. Coach Heller took over when Coach Schrag left, and I was very fortunate that Coach Heller kept me on the staff. And he took us to our first Division I NCAA regional tournament ever at the University of Northern Iowa. And the things that I learned so much from Coach Heller, but things that stood out to me was develop. Every day, you got a chance to get better and make sure you're pushing them to get better. And if they didn't get it the first time, you keep pushing and pushing, because eventually they're gonna get it. And he taught me to never be satisfied with that, and that will stick with me forever. The last piece of advice that Coach Heller gave me when I took the job at North Iowa Community College, taking over a program that was 3-36, is he said, make sure you hire people that are smarter than you. Coach Heller didn't do a very good job of that as he hired me, but I took that advice that Coach had. I remember taking over a program that had won 3 games. And on the 3rd day, I'll never forget, I tried to forget the first day because we tried for an hour to play catch and we could not figure out how to do that. On the third day, we were trying first and thirds, which is a horrible job as a 26-year-old coach because you can't even play catch, so how are you going to execute first and thirds? And after our catcher screwed up 4 or 5 times in a row, and I tried to coach him, he would give me an excuse after every one. And I asked the young man, let's try not to give an excuse. And if we do, here's the deal, I'm going to excuse you from practice. And he looked right at me, and I'll never forget it to this day. He said, Coach, it's not my fault. My mom's an excuse maker, my dad's an excuse maker, my brother's an excuse maker, it's in my genes. At that time, I had to remember what my mother had taught me. I counted to 10, I kept my patience, and we went back on screwing up our first and third. At semester, we were the Bad News Bears, and I got a tremendous call. My brother Travis was going to transfer. And I truly believe that Travis and Kelby Olsen transferring to our program jump-started our program. And it wouldn't have gone the way it did. I hired great coaches, Matt Egger, who's currently the head softball coach at Nyack, Dan Fitzgerald, who's currently the head baseball coach at the University of Kansas, Travis Hergert is the pitching coordinator for the Phillies, Chris Prothro, who was the head coach at Eastern Kentucky University. Those were the guys that got our program going. I got the opportunity to be at the job that I'm at right now at Kirkwood 12 and a half years ago. And we wanted to establish a culture. We wanted to establish a culture that people in the state of Iowa were proud of. And we wanted to recruit the best student athletes from the state to come to Kirkwood and have them be proud of that. Our program changed in 2016 when the best recruiting class that we ever had came to our program. And at that time, we got Iowa kids to believe in what we were trying to do. I'm proud of the development of that. That group of guys took us to the World Series in 2018 for the first time in 20 years. With that, 80% of those kids and 80% of the kids in our program right now are from the state of Iowa. Last year we had 28 players playing Division I baseball, more than any program in the country at our level. And the reason I'm so proud of that is that's because of you guys in this room, the high school coaches in the state of Iowa. You're absolutely the best. They come to us prepared and ready, and I want to thank you for all the success that we have. Has a lot to do with all of you. I'm really lucky and blessed to have 2 of the best players that have ever played for me here tonight. Corey Howe, young man from Chicago, came to us not highly rated and every day believed in what we were doing. Didn't get drafted from our program once, but got drafted twice. Love him to death. And Levi Usher, young man from Cedar Rapids Prairie, had many options, many offers, came to Kirkwood for a year, got drafted, went to the University of Louisville, saw him all over Sports Center, got drafted again. Having those guys here tonight truly means a lot to me. Once again, hired great coaches. 2 of them are here tonight, and Max Steffens and Casey Soley. Also hired Dan McKinney, who's a pitching coach for the New York Mets right now. Casey Day, who's coaching for the Baltimore Orioles as a pitching coach, and Corbin Day, who's a 28-year-old head coach, former Kirkwood Eagle, who just got hired to be a hitting coach in the dugout for the Minnesota Twins. And our last coach, and if you know him, you know why he's not here, is Pete Lordson. He's the best hitting coach in the country. We win with our offense, and we win because of Pete. He's simply the best, hands down. One of the best experiences that I've ever had was coaching and winning a state championship at Prairie. I was able to do it with Levi, and having my son on that team was really special in Jalen. With having 2 jobs and coaching at Kirkwood and then going to Prairie, you have to have a great support system, and nobody had a better one than I did. I had absolutely the best assistant coach in the country. He did everything. Prairie does not win a state championship unless Casey Paula is the assistant coach. He allowed it to happen. He allowed it to happen for me. Our success is due to his effort, and Casey, I will forever appreciate you. We also had the 2 best parents in absolutely the world. We fielded 974 that season. It's better than any Kirkwood team that I've ever coached. And we did that because they knew the fundamentals. They didn't know the fundamentals from me coaching them for 2 weeks. They knew it because of Bob Clark and Matt Usher teaching them at young ages. So I appreciate your guys' help in the success that we had. I want to thank all the people that have had a hand in my career and our players' success. The name coach means a lot to me. So does being a son, a brother, an uncle, a cousin, and now a grandpa. But nothing compares to being called a dad. I'm blessed to have 3 amazing kids. Jalen, you took our family on an unbelievable ride with your athletic talents and your success. I got to coach you as a state champion, a 4-sport athlete, and a 6-time state champion at track. That's how most people know my son, Jalen. I know him as the best brother and son and now dad that I've ever met. My middle daughter, Bailey, is unfortunately can't be here tonight. She's an assistant coach at 21 years old at the University of South Carolina on their beach volleyball team. She's a way better coach than I was at that age. She's motivated, she's disciplined, she knows what she's gonna get, she knows what she wants, and she's gonna go get it. I miss her dearly, and I'm so proud of everything that she has accomplished. My youngest daughter, Peyton, she's known by the players in our program as the GM. She's our general manager. She's gonna be a future Major League Baseball coach. The love and support of the Eagles and her dad is off the charts. Our two favorite weeks of every year is when we go to Enid and play in the World Series, and Peyton's with me. And when we go to the high school baseball state tournament, you'll see Peyton and I walking around watching all of you. To my kids, my name is on this award, but your sacrifice to let your dad do what he loves is why we are here today. That's why I don't feel that I'm going into the Hall of Fame. I feel we as the Riva family are going into the Hall of Fame. This is our award. I love you guys. Thank you.